because you were in the room, let me just ask you one more thing. And I know that there's confidence that you can't preach, but the Prime Minister did address members of caucus. Do you believe that the Prime Minister enjoys the confidence of caucus?
No, absolutely not. I think if there was a secret ballot that was held with caucus, I think it would be overwhelmingly, I don't think there's support there for the Prime Minister.
So there was this letter that was circulated earlier with names of MPs. You were on that letter calling for him to resign. People have been saying over the course of yesterday that more names were added. How many people are on that letter?
That'd be a guess for me, but I'd say that we're probably talking several dozen MPs who've now joined the list. And there were many, Matt, back in October who talked about, I'm just not there yet. Give me a couple of weeks, give me a couple of months, and let's see what happens through the fall. Let's see what happens with the GST scenario in terms of whether it resonates with Canadians. It hasn't. And so I think the actions that the Prime Minister took with Ms. Freeland, I think, convinced many that now's the time.
Wayne Long, you were not at the caucus meeting yesterday, but you have obviously been watching this very closely. What do you make of the Prime Minister's response to yesterday's events?
Well, I mean, a couple points, and thanks for having me on the show. The Prime Minister's clearly lost the confidence of, the party and the country. And, I came out at the end of June and, openly called for his resignation. And since then, we've dropped more in the polls. We've had, things like security clearance issues with Pierre Poilievre, foreign interference. We came out with the HST holiday. We continue to either drop in the polls or stay the same in the polls. I mean, we are 20 to 22 points back. And let me summarize it this way. I wasn't in the room last night. I had house duty and I wasn't allowed to go. But there is no question that the Prime Minister feels he knows what's best for the electorate and for the country better than the electorate and the country. There's no question about that. You can see it in his tone. You can see it in what he says. He feels he knows best. And he also feels that no matter what is happening, come election time, it's going to be okay.
If he's lost the confidence of caucus, if he's lost confidence of the party, why haven't more people put their names to that? Why aren't more people coming out? Why aren't cabinet ministers beyond Chrystia Freeland saying that they don't have confidence in him?
I've learned this before. I've come out, against government in a few different situations over the past 9.5 years. And, it's just human nature. A lot of people talk the talk. A lot of people are, somewhat sincere and saying, I support you. I've got your back. But, when push comes to shove, a lot of people still just take that pause. They don't want to take that extra step. And, to me, the Prime Minister is clearly living in a delusional false reality. Those around him are doing him a disservice. And, I'm openly calling on ministers, more ministers. I mean, obviously, Chrystia Freeland, with that letter, the bluntness and the directness of that letter, the timing of that letter, that was a direct vote of non-confidence in the Prime Minister. You can't be any more direct than that. So my hope is that more ministers will speak up. Like, look, Matt, in the lobby, if I don't get the wink, wink, nod, nod, attaboys, pat on the back from my colleagues, including ministers for the last 4 months, I get them every day. So now is the time for ministers who know what's right, who know what we need to do. Like, we're heading for destruction as a party if we continue with Justin Trudeau as our leader.
Chad Collins, the Prime Minister made his pitch to caucus last night, and again, not asking you to break any confidence, but is your sense that he is considering what you and Wayne Long are saying? Yesterday, some of your fellow MPs came out of that meeting saying that he's staying. Yasser Naqvi said that he believes the Prime Minister is staying on. So is your sense that Justin Trudeau is listening to what you're saying and what you've heard over the course of the day?
Well, it's anyone's guess, Matt, at this point. No one knows what's in the Prime Minister's head from one day to the next. And I was always one who would say to my colleagues that I think the Prime Minister will know when it's time to go. And I was wrong. I'm not certain, as Wayne just alluded to, I'm not certain that the Prime Minister does know when it's time to leave.